Fossil fuel corporations are responsible for 5% of Canada's GDP, but are responsible for directly emitting 31% of Canada's greenhouse gas pollution. It's the fastest rising source of emissions in Canada, both because of increasing production and increasing pollution per barrel of oil that's produced. There is no way for Canada to reduce emissions without the fossil fuel corporations doing their fair share. Profits for fossil fuel corporations have increased tenfold, profiting off global instability and Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine. Rather than investing in reducing their emissions, these corporations have exported nearly all of this windfall to their shareholders, the overwhelming majority of which are not Canadian, while at the same time cutting thousands of jobs in Canada. And that's why we're announcing the fossil fuel pollution cap, which will require fossil fuel companies to reduce their emissions by 35% by 2030. It is technically feasible and is in fact in line with what fossil fuel corporations have already committed to doing through their carbon capture and methane pollution reduction plans. This measure will create thousands of new and sustainable jobs, replacing what these corporations have cut, will lead to billions in foreign direct investment in Canada, and will in fact benefit fossil fuel corporations if they can produce lower carbon fossil fuels that are increasingly in demand around the world. And while Canadians are no longer subject to false claims of the environmental action of these fossil fuel corporations due to recent legislative changes to tackle greenwashing that I helped spearhead, today's announcement is truly about fossil fuel corporations putting their money where their mouth is. So I'm pleased to see the announcement of the draft regulations earlier this week, after urging along with 18 of my colleagues over a year ago for a government to deliver on this key election promise. I now urge the quick finalization of this regulation so that fossil fuel corporations are finally required to start reducing their pollution.